Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. This is Will Casterlow here with Triad Cyber Solutions, CEO and founder of one of the best organizations in the world here today. I want to sit here and talk to you today and listen to my topic. My topic is talking about avoiding the last minute crunch. Okay? Avoiding the last minute crunch. This is where our fourth series of our web series of four, where this month we were talking about different topics and different things. So, week one, we were talking about operational efficiency, right? We were talking about how we can become efficient and how we can be operationally fit to make sure that we are checking our hardware and our software, right? Week two, we were talking about future proofing your IT and cybersecurity services and your budget. Okay. While how we're doing that is making sure you are writing a budget for that stuff. You're budgeting for these expenses, especially for year 2025 and moving forward. So looking at making sure, hey, you end the rest of this year of 2024 to go on and push on out and get ahead and order and make sure you're budgeting for that. Then last week, we went from talking about from budgeting to now actually being protected. Okay. So now we've talked about the preparation of checking out hardware and software, and we're talking about making sure we're budgeting for the rest of this year and next year. But now last week, we talked about going from the budget to the actual being protected. Okay. And now this week, avoiding that crunch. So we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. And let's talk about what does that mean? What does the last minute crunch mean in cybersecurity while we're budgeting for that? Well, what that means really is a lot of times we create budgets and sometimes we miss things, right? So we don't want to crunch it in and cram stuff in and making sure we don't have everything done or everything documented. So we want to make sure all our I's are dotted, all our T's are crossed, right? So making sure the proper planning is being done with your IT and cybersecurity services entails a lot of things, okay? And one reason for doing that and why you want to make sure that you are doing that is to avoid having delayed prioritizations, right? Delayed prioritizations. We want to make sure they're not delayed, okay? The lack of awareness. The lack of awareness means we don't know. And because we didn't consult with the professionals, we don't know. Poor communication, meaning we found out some information, but we didn't still seek out and we didn't try to talk to each other, talk amongst each other, talk to the higher ups, find out all the decision makers. Who are the decision makers in your business? Are you the decision maker? We want to make sure that communication is reactive and not proactive. So we stand on building a reactive culture than a proactive culture. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to move on and I'm going to talk about the consequences of not doing that. Right. When we're talking about the consequences of not doing it, that last minute crunch. Well, what's going to do? What are some of the things that can happen to you when you are, again, waiting to the last minute? Your vulnerabilities can increase. This is the time where you don't want to be caught by the wayside and not knowing what you need to happen, right? Knowing what needs to happen, knowing what you need. The next thing is having the stress on the security team. Look, we can wait, right? Let's just say you have an IT person or an IT team, and they've been talking to you about, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. You're procrastinating. Well, now all of a sudden, we want to spend some money for the end of the year, so we want to make sure we get all these things in. This is what I mean about having the stress on the IT security team. Or if you don't have a security team or IT team at all, now you're having stress of making something work that's not even in place. Okay. You're going to also create higher emergency costs. What does that mean? Well, let's say Susie on your team, she's checking her email. She opens up an email. All of a sudden, her computer does something funky, and she gets the blue screen of death. We call it the blue screen of death, where the whole screen goes blue. It's blinking. Maybe it restarts, and then if you restart your PC, the only thing that happens is what? Just the blue screen. So those things was what we call the blue screen of death. But now we're in an emergency. Her PC won't come up. She's got to do payroll. Payroll is due on Friday. Now, in order to process payroll, we've got to get her machine up and running. Well, who do you turn to? Well, guess what? You don't have an IT person. Or your IT department, who you have, can't do it because they're fishing something else. So what do you do? What do you do in those situations? You need to make sure you have a team that's ready to go at all times who can take on the workload. Okay? A lot of us business owners like ourselves or like you, what you do is you have that one person who says, oh yeah, he or she's an IT person. And the only thing they can do is answer questions. They're not truly an IT person. Let me give you a scenario. I had a story where I had a future possible client. They were a church. And what they did is they decided not to go with an IT person, but instead they went with someone else in their department. They went with like a deacon or a person in the church who knew about IT, who knew how to do some things. Well, they were the new IT person. Guess what? They had no clue of what was going on. They couldn't even fix QuickBooks. The person was trying to fix QuickBooks. The person was trying to be able to print. The only thing they say was, okay, well, call the person that you guys used before. Well, he's not an IT person. So now the repercussions of this is the church is going to pay a higher cost because now this is an emergency service, one. Number two, you're dealing with someone who's inexperienced, who has no inclination of what's going on. So now there may be other things going on. And number three, now we're working on a reactive instead of proactive measure. Not good. All right. The next thing is operational disruptions. I just mentioned that with my example. My example was, again, with the church. They didn't have the proper people in place. They didn't have the proper tools in place. They didn't have the proper systems in place. You need an incident response plan. What is an incident response plan? In case something happens, you have a plan where you can go to, you have someone you can go to and help fix and rectify that issue as quickly as possible. Well, guess what, folks? If you don't have someone in place, if an issue happens and it spreads too far, you're in some big, big trouble, which is going to create higher emergency cost. Something you don't want to do. Okay? Well, we talk about this. We say, well, how early can cybersecurity budgeting be beneficial? Well, this is the reason why it's beneficial. You want to make sure you have strategic allocations of resources. If they're not strategic, if you're not aligned with the process, if you're not aligned with someone who knows what is required by your organization, your business, you're in trouble. The next thing is enhanced risk management. Well, the enhanced risk management is making sure you have the proper protocols and procedures in place. That risk management can be something that can cost long-term and big-time fines. I met with someone yesterday, and what she was talking about, she's like a compliance person. She says so many people, so many businesses have no idea of the compliance regulatory fines per incident. It's per incident, y'all. So when you're sitting here like, oh yeah, we're good with IT, we don't need nothing, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Because when they do get to you, and they will, they're going to hit you and you're going to pay. So you need to go ahead and take care of those situations now. So that way now your name doesn't get out there as shoulda, woulda, coulda. And now you're trying to come back on the rebound and now be reactive instead of proactive. Long-term cost savings. We just talked about that, right? Making sure you don't pay higher costs now because you're trying to go back from the back burner and try to reap up all the benefits and try to get everything in order all at one time. Improved financial planning. Very imperative. That's why that budgeting piece is so important, and you're budgeting for next year. Right now is the time to be budgeting for next year to make sure you have everything lined up for estimated costs. Do we know how much it's going to cost? We don't. That's why you get with a professional like us at Triad Cyber Solutions, where we can give you a comprehensive. It starts first with a cybersecurity risk assessment. Folks, I cannot stress that anymore. You need to have a cybersecurity risk assessment done on your organization and your business. If somebody comes up and tells you the only thing you all need is XYZ, if someone can give you a price on how much it will cost to protect your business without doing a cybersecurity risk assessment, I would run because they have no idea. Things have changed, folks. The way we used to do things back in the day is no longer valid. The things that we used to do when COVID happened, post-COVID is now what, 4 or 5 years out. Those things are outdated. The FTC, the federal government, has mandated regulatory compliances that you have to follow. Folks, if you don't understand it and you don't get it, please give us a call. We can help you with that. But if you stand there and do nothing and you act like you know and you don't know, it's going to cost you deeply in your pockets. Okay? Deeply. And then the last thing I just talked about, regulatory compliance and reputation. Look, when you get a fine, guess what happens? When you get a fine and they say you're in violation of this compliance, your name now goes into the spotlight and it gets broadcast out in the community. Do you want your name out there like that on a negative side of the fence being produced? I wouldn't think so. Now, here's some other things that we can talk about on how avoiding the last minute crunch. Start early, right? This is why we're starting early right now for 2025, and then so on, and then so on. But just because we're in the 10th month, yes, this month is upon us. Cybersecurity Awareness Month is upon us. It is the 23rd of October, but it doesn't mean it's too late. Okay? So let's start rather than leave it behind. The next thing is foster cross-department collaboration, meaning making sure that your IT, security, your finance department, your management department, everyone has goals and budgets for each one of those departments. It's not just an overall goal for the IT to have a goal or a budget. You have to have departmental goals and objectives, okay? And again, we're going to conduct a regular cybersecurity risk assessment. I can't stress that enough. Conduct regularly cybersecurity risk assessments. You know what? I just got to hear my mind about something. The cybersecurity risk assessment, I'm going to offer a challenge. I got a special challenge for you all. Here's my challenge. Give us a call, 336-558-4660. Okay. Matter of fact, let me see my next slide I have. Here we go. Here's another way you can call the schedule. Okay. Schedule. Here's a QR code. Here's a QR code for you to be able to schedule. Okay. Give us a call or schedule or scan this QR code. Schedule an appointment. Let's schedule to do a cybersecurity risk assessment on your network. I have a challenge for you. The challenge is we will conduct and do a cybersecurity risk assessment on your organization. Now, if we don't find anything, you don't pay anything, and I will personally donate $250 to your personal choice of charity. That's big. So we call us or schedule an appointment with us and do a cybersecurity risk assessment. If we don't find anything, you don't pay anything, and I will personally donate to your charity of choice $250. That's a challenge that you're in a win-win. Because if you feel like, hey, our network is all good, we're all good, now that's free money. That's a free write-off for you for the end of the year. It's $250 to your charity. So we will do that. If you have two businesses, I'll do it for two businesses. It doesn't matter. Okay? That's how much I stand behind doing a cybersecurity risk assessment and why it's important. But it's very, very important that you get on and you call us and you schedule. So click on this link right here, scan that QR code, and schedule that appointment. Now, one of the things you need to look at, and to expect is you're going to expect professional awareness training. You're going to expect simple implementive modules and an expert being able to help you from A to Z. Let me ask you another question. Do you have cybersecurity insurance? Do you have a cyber liability insurance plan? Do you have an incident response plan? Are you conducting monthly penetration testing on your network? Are you having monthly or quarterly cybersecurity risk assessments done on your organization? If not, you need to schedule, scan this QR code, give us a call, and put the number and information back up. Here's our email. You can also email us at sales@triadcybersolutions.com. Here's our phone numbers. You can go to our website and take a look at exactly what we do and how we are able to help and serve you. Okay? Because this is all for you. You all are the light of my shining armor. And what I look at to drive is I'm looking to keep and help manage your risk. How do you want to manage your risk, folks? And guess what? It's only going to get harder and harder. Well, I appreciate your time today, taking out and coming on and hanging out with me today. I really, really do appreciate that. Listen, next month, we got a whole lot of good stuff, right? A whole lot of good stuff. Next month, we got some speakers. We're going to have some guest speakers speaking about different things and how we're going to close out 2024 with a bang. The next thing is our next session, seminar, webinar message is going to be about how cyber attacks increase during the holidays. Folks, you don't want to miss that, okay? You don't want to miss it. But until then, thank you for joining us. I very much appreciate you. Folks, remember, cybersecurity risk assessment. Remember that cybersecurity risk assessment challenge. I am donating $250 to your choice of organization if we do not find anything or we run a cybersecurity risk assessment, and you don't have to pay. Okay? It's simple. give us a call. We're here for you. Thank y'all very much. We'll be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.